Hello and welcome to the selection by Kiera. I first read the series when I was 12 to 13 during middle school, during the whole frenzy that was Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, Divergent, Twilight, hashtag it's a book thing you wouldn't understand. I remember genuinely loving selection when I was 12 and 13. It hit all my favorite tropes. Royalty, competition, dresses, and a love triangle in which my side wins. However, even though I loved selection 1, 2, 3, when I was 14 or 15, I don't remember, to my surprise, I heard that there were 2 more books. Yes, selection 4 and 5. And I remember getting them and reading them, and until this day, it's one of the worst things I've ever read. They suck so much, which made me question, were selection 1 to 3 only favorites of mine because during that time I wasn't thinking critically about the things I read, or was just 4 and 5 really, really bad? So now I'm going to reread selection 1 through 3 and I'm going to report back on if they really truly suck. Additionally, rumors of a Netflix movie series have been making the rounds again, and there's a director now and a script and everything, and apparently first signs of a cast. So this would be a great time to revisit the series. So here's what happens in the 2012 young adult classic, The Selection by Kiera, aka Princess Bachelor. We enter a North America of the future. Long gone is the United States and Canada, and in its place is the country of Aaliyah. We do get vague backstory in the middle of the book, so I think what essentially happened was there was a war with China because America didn't have enough money, and somehow Canada got involved in it, and then the United States was a puppet state of Canada for a while, and then some more war stuff happens, and out comes General George Aaliyah, who took back the country, and it was renamed in his honor, and his descendants rule the country as a monarchy. In this monarchy, the citizens are divided up into 8 distinct castes. These castes determine your social standing, your future jobs, and to some extent your wealth. Now, what are the castes? Well, firstly we have the 1, monarchy. Here is the prince and his family. Number 2, rich people. I don't know what their job is, but they were said to be rich. Number 3, I have no clue. Number 4, farmers, I think. Number 5, artists and painters and singers, entertainers. Number 6, servants and factory workers. Number 7, I have no clue. Number 8, maybe homeless people. This is not me trying to be funny or quirky. They just never tell you, so don't think about it. The only thing you need to know is that everybody is poor, except 1, 2, 3. As a girl in this society, you can marry up into higher classes if you're very lucky. And I think you can also buy yourself a caste, but because the lower classes are all poor, it doesn't really matter. The system is stacked against you. We meet our main character, a spunky 17-year-old redhead named, and I shit you not, America Singer. Naming your children America is something I think that should be illegal. Named after the country that no longer exists, and I'm gonna let you guess what her talent is. It's not juggling, no, it's singing, and she can play every instrument ever. Well, you see, America is a 5. Which means she is poor, but she is not poor. Like, she has her own room and a TV and popcorn and a fridge, but they're still said to be poor. And she works as a singer at parties by higher castes to earn money for her family. Chapter 1 opens with a letter arriving. You see, the crown prince of Aaliyah, Prince Maxon has come of age, and by tradition, he will pick his bride out of the girls in the country. Through a lottery, one girl of each of the 35 provinces get chosen to come to his castle and compete in the selection. Every young girl between 16 and 20 is buzzing, but nay, America is not, because America has a secret. You see, the young lady has no interest in princess and castles because she is already in love. She has a secret boyfriend. His name, Aspen Ledger, and scandalously, he is a 6. She refuses to sign up for the selection, which makes her mother incredibly mad. Because you see, the family and the girl that wins the selection automatically become a one. You see, America is different. She is special. She is not like the other girls. No wonder I used to like this series so much. I also thought I was not like the other girls, but what I really was jealous. After having a fight with her mother about it, that evening she sneaks out past curfew to meet the famed Aspen. She sneaks him out some food because, you see, Aspen is the brokest bitch you will ever meet. He has 1 million siblings and no prospects, but we want to marry him anyway because he is a good person and kind-hearted. America really wants to marry him, but Aspen is wary because he has even less money than America, and if they marry, she will become a 6. They have a nice cute date and make out in true preteen YA fashion. They don't go any further because apparently Ilya is a very chaste society. If you get caught having premarital sex or stealing a fruit, you will get stoned and beaten. America tells him about the selection. He says, America, you should sign up. I want a better life for you. And America says, alright, I guess I'll sign up. The next day she wakes up and her mother also promises her that if you please sign up, America, we will let you keep some of the money that you make through singing. And America eventually agrees because she hopes to use that money to pay for her and Aspen's wedding. America is so negative about her mother. She just doesn't get it. Her mother does. Her mother knows. America is too hot to die poor. They go together to the town office and they all sign up. And there in the gaggle of other girls trying to sign up, they meet Aspen's mother. There they have a nice little chat and she lets slip that she thinks Aspen has a girlfriend that he really likes and plans to propose to soon. And America is so excited because she thinks I'm the girl he's going to propose to soon. And so she gives the camera her biggest smile when she hands in her application. Some time passes, she earns some money through her singing, and to sort of coax the proposal out of Aspen, she makes this really nice fancy dinner for him and brings it up to the treehouse. However, Aspen has a totally different reaction when he sees it. He is like, America, this is not right. You shouldn't provide for me. I should provide for you. You know, misogyny things. Don't ask what you can do for misogyny. Ask what misogyny can do for you. Because I don't want to work. He breaks up with her. She just says bye. We don't have a future together. I can't do this to you. And leaves. And America is crushed. And I understand her. God, she is 17 already. Basically an old crone. She really needs to get a husband soon. America's heart is broken. Some time passes again, and one evening her and her family sit in front of the TV and watch the news, only to hear the news that America has been chosen for the selection. Who would have thought? Her family are so excited, but America is not. Because Prince Maxon looks stuffy and stupid. And we're not a princess. We're not princess material. No. And I will admit, America is not princess material. And I am also not princess material. But what I do think is that I'm millionaire wife material. As a general rule of thumb, ladies and ladies, if you are ever given the choice between a prince and the brokest person you've ever met, always choose the prince. Unless, and spoilers for The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson, you are that bitch. Because Kaden had trust issues and daddy issues and tried to murder her, and she still didn't pick him. Make it make sense. The day before America departs, some dude comes to their house and explains her the rules, like what you can and cannot get kicked out for. It's basically like you can't have relations with anybody else while you're in the castle. You're considered property of the prince. If you do, he can do whatever he wants, including killing you. Don't harm another contestants. Then he gives them a check for their compensation, because you do get paid while you're in the castle, which is nice. He asks if she is a virgin, because this is this type of book. As she walks him to the door, he says that it's in her best interest to never refuse Prince Maxon, regardless of what he asks for. And yes, he means her flower, her roast beef, her pot of American glory. She's like, ew, I'm a woman of standards. Maxon sucks already. And then he leaves. Later on in that day, Aspen also comes around bringing her flowers from his sisters. And he says, well, good for you that you got in. It all worked out for the best. I'm so proud of you. And then she backhands him. How dare you wish me a good time? You idiot. I wanted you to propose to me. And then he's like, whoops. And then he leaves. And America is really sad. The day of her departure in her province arrives, which is called Carolina. The mayor does some long ceremony, and in the audience that came to send her off, she sees Aspen again, and in his arms, another girl. And America thinks, oh my god, was this the girl he was going to propose to the entire time? I am so stupid. She gets on a plane, and there she meets 4 other girls in the selection. Their names are Marley, Celeste, and doesn't matter. There are 35 contestants. The only, I would say, 4 girls worth remembering for you are America, Marley, which is her future best friend, 3 Celeste, who is the stereotypical pretty rich mean girl, and number 4 Chris, who will not be important in this book but later. You know, back in the day, I hated Celeste. I thought she was such a bitch, but now I see her for what she is. A hustler. She gets on the plane immediately and says, I am not your friend. My name's Celeste and this is a competition. I mean, I'm still not her biggest fan because she is, you know, a mean rich, and I'm always just another $5 for a train ticket away from becoming a communist. But I see you and I can appreciate what you're doing, girl. Marley and America become instant best friends. And Marley is nice and bubbly, and you don't need to know much else about Marley. They arrive in Angeles, which I guess is supposed to be Los Angeles, where the castle is. And at the airport there are like a bunch of people who hold up signs and pictures, like fangirls and fanboys who root for their favorite girl to become the princess. And America is like super swept up with it, and she's like super humble and kind and talks to everybody at the airport. And she's like, oh my god, I'm usually not like that, but all of a sudden I am. Oh my god. They arrive at the palace and we get immediately thrown into a makeover montage. All the girls get like gussied up and get put into pretty dresses. But America doesn't care for it, because America is a natural beauty. She likes to keep things light. She doesn't want nail polish or all that other silly stuff. She just needs layers in her hair to be the most beautiful belle of the ball. Lots of the other girls looked a little older or younger or just nicer after the makeup. I still looked like me when I was done. Of course, so did Celeste, since she insisted upon piling it on. She gets interviewed after her makeover by a camera, because this is also a reality show. But there's no rose ceremony, which was very disappointing. She gets asked questions, and then it's time for all of the girls to go to their rooms. because they will not be meeting the prince today, but tomorrow. In her chambers, America gets introduced to her 3 maids with normal names, Mary, Anne, and Lucy. I want to be helpful immediately, but America says, no, please go, I don't need help. I'm too humble to have help. Please go, I need to be alone. Because America is slowly but surely having a panic attack about everything, about the situation, and also she still misses Aspen, you know, the breakup is not that long ago, and you know, all that emotion coming up to her, she just really needs to go outside. So she makes a run for the garden. She really wants to go outside, but the guards say, no, you can't go outside. But just in that moment, Prince Maxon comes around the corner and says, let her out. And America storms outside and is followed by the prince who she is not supposed to meet yet. And outside, Prince Maxon tries to go to her and ask her, is everything okay, my dear? And she screams at him in his face saying, I'm not your dear. What are you doing? You're stupid and stuffy and you're a prince and I hate you. And oh my god, this is such a cage and everything sucks and I don't want to be here, but I have to be here because of my mom, and also I don't even love you, I love Aspen. And Max, instead of being insulted by the fact that a stranger just screamed at him, just smiles and laughs and is very nice. Don't call me that. I'm no more dear to you than the 34 other strangers you have here in your cage. That is an unfair statement. You are all dear to me. It is simply a matter of discovering who shall be the dearest. Did you really just use the word shall? I'm afraid I did. Forgive me. It's a product of my education. Education, I muttered, rolling my eyes. Ridiculous. I'm sorry? It's ridiculous. What is? This contest, the whole thing. Haven't you ever loved anyone at all? Is this how you want to pick a wife? Are you really so shallow? I can see how I would appear that way, how this whole thing could seem like it's nothing more than cheap entertainment. But in my world, I am very guarded. I don't meet very many women. Circumstances being what they are, I haven't had the opportunity to fall in love. Have you? Yes. Then you have been quite lucky. He sounded jealous. Isn't he nice? He apparently has never met a woman before. He doesn't know what to do when women are crying. She says you should pat them on the back and he's like, wow, mind blown. They officially meet the next day in a sort of speed dating round of introductions. And when it comes to America to meet the prince officially, she goes up to him and says, hey, I know I already told you that I have no interest in you, but I still really want to stay in the selection because I don't want to go home because I need the money. I want to make you a deal, which is that if you keep me around, I could be your friend and your confidant because obviously you don't have any friends. And I could give you inside information because all the girls are of course going to be very nice to you because you're the prince, but I will know the true tea of what's going on. So I will help you pick a girl. And Maxon, in his graciousness, agrees, and he also immediately sends a couple of girls home before breakfast. Let me stay and I'll help you. I'll be your friend. Do you think, Maxon asked, that I could still call you my dear? Not a chance, I whispered. I'll keep trying. I don't have it on me to give up. Did you call all of them that? I nodded my head towards the rest of the room. Yes, and they all seem to like it. That is the exact reason why I don't. And I stood. They have a really good breakfast, and during that, America gets served a strawberry tart, and she likes the tart so much that she moans so loudly at biting into it that the prince and the queen and the king notice it. And Maxon jokingly says, oh my god, America, is that so good? And she says, yes, it is so good. In fact, I have a little sister who would cry if she ate this pastry. And then Maxon all cheekily says, oh, why don't we make a bet? If we serve this pastry to your sister and she doesn't cry, then you have to go on a date with me. And then America says, well, if she does cry, I want to wear pants from now on. You know, she's one of those girls that go like, Jason, is this so weird that I'm wearing a dress? You know, usually I'm just one of the boys that wears pants. Well, her sister doesn't end up crying, so they go together on Maxon's first official selection date. And they go for a nice stroll, talking very pleasantly, being very friendly, you know, friends being friends. And then he sends the cameras away so they can have some privacy. And America, remembering her conversation with the guy that came to her house, totally misinterprets the situation. And when Maxon comes a step closer, she kicks him in his royal baby making machine. And he is very confused and he's very mad. And it's like, what the fuck did you do that for? And then she's like, don't come any closer, you pervert. And he's like, goodness gracious, America, I'm a gentleman. I would never do this. What did you think would happen? And then he sends her to her room to eat alone and not join the others, because as punishment, I was appalled by the way he just treated her like a child and ordered her around. But as the person that I become after 1 a.m. on a private browser, I was, why did you even offer to help if you think so little of me? I couldn't even look him in the eye. You'll be taking dinner in your room tonight. I'll deal with this in the morning. La la, Maxon. Hot things going on. She goes back to her room, and there she finds a present from Maxon. Some pants. And she feels really bad. And she thinks he's gonna send her home. Thankfully for her, the next morning during breakfast, a rebel attack happens. And they all get locked into the breakfast room, and there are rebels in the castle. And when Maxon comes over to America to talk to her, as he does with all the other girls that are like crying and screaming, but America is not, because she is different. He explains to her that there are apparently 2 types of rebel groups in Aaliyah, northern and southern, and one of them look for something and the other kill people. It is truly baffling to America why there would be rebels in Aaliyah, which, I mean, America, everybody is poor. During that attack, she and Maxon talk and they like clear the air, and she says, hey, you should take my friend Marley out, she's really nice. And he agrees. Some time passes in the castle. Her and Maxon become best friends forever. She gets friendly with her maids. They go on another walk sometime down the lane. They walk a lot. And during that walk, she and him have a heart-to-heart. And he asks about Aspen, because she said that she was in love before. She does not tell Maxon his name, but she explains how they met, apparently when her brother Coda, because you can flip a coin 50-50 in this book, and they will either have a really stupid name or a normal name. Like, her brother's name is Coda, and the king is called Clarkson, and 2 of the girls are named Tiny and Tuesday. Her brother got really rich because he did a sculpture that sold for a lot of money, but instead of supporting America and her family, he instead moved out and kept all of the money for himself. And during that moving process, she met Aspen, and it was love at first sight, and they met up and they broke all the curfews and the rules to see each other, and it's not seemly for a 5 and a 6 to be together, but they didn't care. And then Aspen broke her heart, and Maxon is so compassionate and says, America, I'm so sorry. He's such an asshole. You don't deserve this. And then they embrace, and he says, I now know why you don't want to go back home. And I understand. And in fact, I promise here now to keep you around until the very end, when there are only 2 people left, as my best friend. And the other one will be my wife then. And America is so thankful. America also says, Maxon, you need to go on more dates. The other girls are talking. You know, the girls are starting to throw hands. Celeste tricked one girl into slapping her and threw her out. In another one of their talks, to Maxon's shock, he learns that people are poor in his country. You know, he does not know a lot about the country he's leading, because he's shocked when he learns that one winter America and her family had no electricity, and they were very hungry, and they had no gifts for Christmas, and that people get beaten for stealing food. He had no idea. That evening in a TV special, he announces that he will be using the selection money that is supposed to be given to the higher castes, 2 to 3, to open a food bank for the poor. Look at her. Look at her using the power of that wob, that friendship wob, to turn him into a communist. In the same TV interview, by the way, as Celeste, because she is a mean, pretty girl, tries to ruin America's dress because everybody has caught on by now that the Prince Maxon seems to like America the best. In the interview, America said a lot of really nice things about Maxon, like how he's a great guy and he'll be a great king. And that evening, Prince Maxon comes to her room and says, "Thank you for saying all these nice things about me, but you didn't have to, you know, we're just gals being pals." And she says, "No, I really meant them. I really think you're a good and kind person. I really think you will be a good king." And because nobody has ever given Maxon a compliment before, he then up and tries to kiss America. And America's like, "Whoa, bestie, what's going on?" And then he's like, "Well, in the mood, and you know, my first kiss and everything," because he has never kissed anybody before. And then America says, "Oh my god, he wanted to have his first kiss with me. That's so sweet." And then she gives him his first kiss, a very chaste peck on the lips. And then he says, "America, hey, I know we're like besties and everything, but I have really started to develop some kind of feelings for you. Do you think you could feel about me in that way too, even though I know your heart is still broken?" And America's like, "Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, you're really nice, and I do like you, and I should like you, so yeah, maybe you have a chance." One afternoon, Marley confesses to America that she thinks that she does not love Maxon and she can never fall in love with Maxon. And then America is like, "Well, give it some time maybe." And Marley is like, "No, I don't like Maxon at all." And then America's like, "Well, why are you still in the competition if you don't like Maxon at all? Like, you should be honest with him and not waste his time." And then Marley does a 380 and says, "No, maybe, Maxon is so cute. No, I like Maxon a lot," because she wants to stay. Foreshadowing Marley's secrets. Things are going generally well between Max and America. They're flirting. You know, he thinks she's hilarious. He has never met a person before. I don't want you to get confused. He does go on dates with the other girls and he does kiss the other girls. So don't think too highly of him. It's still The Bachelor, you know. America and Maxon have yet another date and they want to go to the movies. And guess who they meet on the way, just when things were going smoothly? Aspen Ledger. He has been drafted by the military and is now a palace guard. Aspen, go away. America has just become open to being rich. But America's shocked to see him, and all her old feelings come up for Aspen. And I'm like, Aspen. Chris, one of the girls, has a birthday party, and at the birthday party, Celeste spills some red wine on her and she goes out crying, and Maxon rushes after her. And America's like, "Enough is enough. Celeste is terrorizing everybody. I really need to talk with Maxon about this." Maxon gets super defensive about the whole thing. "Oh, well, Celeste can't be mean. She said it was an accident. She's probably not lying." And America's like, "She's lying." And then Max is like, "No, she's not. Plus, Celeste is really nice to me. Stop being so jealous." And America's like, "Jealous? Me? Celeste is just being a bitch. You should do something about it, quite frankly." "Why, then why won't you believe me when I say that what Celeste did was a calculated move?" "America, it's not that I think you're lying. I'm sure to you it seemed that way." Gaslighting. "But Celeste was sorry and she's been nothing but gracious with me." "I'll bet she has," I muttered under my breath. "That's enough," Maxon said with a sigh. "I don't want to talk about the others right now. She tried to take my dress, Maxon," I complained. "I said I don't want to talk about her," he said. "If you're going to act this way, I'm going to find someone who does want my company." He walked up. "Hey," I called. "No." He turned back on me and spoke more forcefully than I'd ever imagined he could. "You forget yourself, Lady America. It would do you well to remember that I am the crown prince of Ilia. For all intents and purposes, I am lord and master of this country, and I'll be damned if you think you can treat me like this in my own home. You don't have to agree with my decisions, but you will abide by them." Maxon is truly best when he shuts the fuck up. Who allowed the bank account to talk? That night, Aspen makes his move, and he comes to her room, and He kisses her and says to her that he misses her and that he wants them together. You know, this is serious. They can get killed for this if they get caught. But he says he doesn't care. He just wants America back and he loves her so much. And America, rattled by her fight with Maxon, gives in and she says, no, I don't love Maxon when he asks. She also asks about the girl from the ceremony before she left, and he said, you know how clumsy she is, she just magically fell into my arms. And America is like, oh yes, you know, girls are clumsy. America, I know you're having a fight with Maxon. I know he was rude, okay? But the palace will be big. You won't have to see him every day when you're married. She tells him she still loves him. Like an idiot. Later, or on another evening, I don't remember exactly, another rebel attack happens. And this time they're more prepared. And America is supposed to go to the royal bunker. However, she insists on bringing her maids with her because she is a good person. She doesn't let the guard tell her to not take them in, and she just takes them in. She and Maxon in the bunker sort of make up, but non-verbally. And a lot of the other girls are crying and they can't take it anymore and they really want to go home, and it's not safe. There are more and more rebel attacks. So the next morning, Maxon makes a surprise announcement to narrow down the 20-something girls to only the elite, which are 6 girls. And those girls are Celeste, Marley, Chris, a girl named Elise, a girl named Natalie, and America. And America is really relieved that she's still in the game. And Aspen realizes this because he's like guarding and stuff. And he's like, why are you so relieved? I thought you didn't like him. If you leave the palace, we can be together. That evening, Maxon comes to America's room and they make up for what happens. And what that boils down to basically is that he is really sorry, that he shouldn't have been so mean, and that he's under a lot of pressure from his father and several advisors in who to pick as his wife. Because you see, all the girls that are still in the running, he chose for their popularity with the general public, like Marley and Chris. And the other girls he chose for their political advantages, like Celeste, Elise, and Natalie. Everyone except America. After having kissed once and constant walking and fighting, he has decided that he loves America. And if he could, then he would just send all the other girls home and propose to her immediately. But he knows that America is not sure about their relationship and she is not sure about him yet. So he's gonna leave her the room to decide if she wants to be with him. And during that time, he's going to look at the other 5 girls as potential brides if America does end up not choosing him. If this were a simple matter, I'd have eliminated everyone else by now. I know how I feel about you. Maybe it's impulsive for me to think I could be so sure, but I'm certain I would be happy with you. There are moments when I feel like you and I have broken down every last wall, and then others when I think you only want to stay for convenience. If I knew for sure that I and I alone was your motivation. He paused and shook his head as if the end of his sentence was something he couldn't let himself want. Would I be wrong in saying that you're still unsure of me? I didn't want to hurt him, but I had to be honest. No. Then I have to hedge my bets. You may decide to leave and I will let you go if you do. In the meantime, I have to find a wife. I'm trying to make the best decision I can within the boundaries that I've been given. But please don't doubt for a moment that I care for you deeply. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I thought about Aspen and what I'd done and I felt so ashamed. In my country, we have a saying that goes, what he doesn't know doesn't make him hot. And I think you should employ this, America. If somebody didn't know you murdered or stole or cheated, then it basically didn't happen. Maxon, can you ever forgive me? I didn't get to finish my confession. He came in closer and started sweeping the tears off my face with his strong fingers. Forgive what? Our stupid little fight is already forgotten. Your feelings being a little slower than mine, I'm prepared to wait, he said with a shrug. I don't think there's anything you could that I couldn't forgive. Need I remind you of the knee to my groin? You know you still have a choice in this. If you're afraid to stay, you should say so, he paused, thinking. Or if you don't think you can love me at all, it would be kinder to tell me now. I'll let you go on your way and we can part as friends. I wrapped my arms around him, resting my head against his chest. Maxon seemed both comforted and surprised by the gesture. It took only a second for him to wrap his arms securely around me. Maxon, I am not completely sure what we are, but we're definitely more than friends. Haven't been out of focus this entire time. What is this? They have another tame kiss together, and he leaves like a gentleman. And that evening later, Aspen comes by and wants to get a little sugar. And she says, no, we can't do this in the palace anymore. Not only will we die if we get found out, and you're not rich enough for me to risk that. She did not say that, but I feel like she should have said that. And she also says, I need to see where this thing with Maxon is going. And then he's like, oh, so you're choosing him? And she's like, no, I'm choosing myself. Girl boss. And then he's like, so I guess I have some competition. And then she's like, bitch, we will die if we get caught in this castle. And then he's like, sounds like a challenge. It's going all Jacob in Twilight. She wakes up the next day with a new sense of purpose and identity. And that's it. The end. And there we are. One girl who only cares about her maids and pants and strawberry tarts, being chased by the richest man in the country, a prince, and a broke palace guard. Wow, the decision is so hard. That was a selection by Kiera Cass. You might say, nothing really happened, and you're right. But don't worry, the drama will appear later. Now, as a feminist, I think I'm a little offended by the selection, you know. You need to be faithful to one guy who can date 35 other girls. Basically being paraded around like cattle. But as a gold digger, I am absolutely delighted. He is so agreeable and kind. Never has there been an easier target than Maxon. What are all these girls doing? This man has never seen boobs before. Lift your shirts, ladies. I stand firmly by my preteen evaluation. Maxon is the only way to go. If you are Team Aspen, get out, okay? Do you want to be hungry your entire life? Or do you want to shake your ass in a thong on a yacht in Dubai? Obviously, the book doesn't hold up. America is a type A analog. She's your typically self-righteous good person who's not impressed by money. And oh my god, I am America. I'm just so plain and average. And oh my god, why are all these people telling me I'm the most beautiful girl they ever met? I'm just so humble. Gosh, I know I play every instrument ever and my hair is so luscious and I'm so smart. Oh, but why are you all telling me this? I really liked Maxon when he was my favorite book boyfriend. I loved Maxon Shreve so much. But now I see him for what he truly is, which is someone with about as much game as a homeschooled Mormon. There was a time in my life where I was surrounded by these people. And for some reason, the boys just kept climbing on furniture, and I was so confused. Sit down. That's when I realized why we need the public school system. We all need to get a little bullied, okay? Yeah, Maxon is not as lovely anymore as he once was to me. Because, I think I like that he was nice and that he shut up and was rich. It makes a lot of sense now why I liked him so much. But still, we need to get rid of Aspen immediately because Aspen is just a distraction. He is not an equal or even choosable love interest, okay? He's just stopping us from getting that bag. And I really think we need to get more action in here, okay? The virgin thing is not doing it for me anymore. It was in 2013, but not in 2021, okay? I have discovered low-key fanfiction. Celeste is probably a lesbian with Compet, right? Obviously, the writing and everything doesn't hold up. I think if I read this for the first time now, I wouldn't like it anymore. I think I still like it. The dialogue, nobody talks the way that they talk, okay? It's very weird. The book is very short, so they need to make the dialogue pack full of information. I'm confused on how to rate this. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. I don't think I have a lot of objectivity here because I did enjoy reading it. You can read it fairly quickly. Give it 2 to 3 hours. You can bang this out in an afternoon. I like the setting. If you want a good boost of 2012 by nostalgia, read this. Why not? I guess though if you have made it this far, then you don't need to read it anymore because I told you most of the plot. There are still some things I left out, but not much. As parting words, I would say I'm quite confused as to why America is confused, because only one of them comes with a palace. And always remember, you can make more money in a 10-minute ceremony than you can in 100 years of honest and hard work. And that's that on that. May your thoughts be as humble as America, and your day as full as Maxon's bank account. Goodbye.